right, what's the deal here? What's the deal? All right, there we go. There you guys are. Couldn't see any comments for a second. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. Good Sunday morning, Lifeboat. I am your host, Captain Tommy Scoville. And we are revisiting a subject from yesterday, or we will shortly. We're going to revisit yesterday's subject because I got so squirreled yesterday. I mean, it was just too cool a subject. And everybody starts talking about stuff, and I cannot not riff off people. And I've decided that I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do what I do, and we'll just revisit it. If I got to do it 2 days in a row, if I got to do it 4 days in a row, I'm just not going to stress about it anymore. Those days are over. And it's not like the process. I actually had somebody say to me, "What is your process?" I said, "What the hell does that mean?" What is your process? I guess what they were asking is if you sit and you come up with bullet points, or do you write out a script, or do you I don't do any such thing. I don't do any such thing. I just I get a topic that we want to talk about, and then we come on here and kind of do it. And it may be a little bit less professional. To be sure, it's a lot less professional. However, if you take the time to write down, sometimes I'll do bullet points, depending on how important I think the show is. Like if it's a big one or whatever, I'll do bullet points and have some Post-it notes stuck to things with some bullet points on it, so that I don't forget, anything that I think is really important that I kind of need to get in there. But if you do shows and you do them on the fly, all the time people say to me, "You've done 1,200 whatever videos. And if you talk about sobriety, you're going to run out of stuff to talk about." Of course you're not. Of course you're not. You know what the proof of that is? Honestly, the easiest proof to that since about 40 to 50% of you now came over here from AA Ron's channel. The perfect example of that is I can go on that channel once a week, and 1% of whatever the video views are, right? So if you get, you get 1,000 views or you get 30,000 views, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter what the subject is. Take the views, multiply them by 1%. And that's about the percentage of people who see the video who are going to hit subscribe on the Lifeboat. Now, if you've been on the channel 3 times, you would think, well, everybody's seen them, right? Everybody that could possibly see me over there has seen me. And it's just not the case. It's never the way it is. I could talk about the same stuff every single day. And the truth of the matter is it's rote, right? You're familiar with the concept of rote learning. Yeah? Okay. Honestly, you can't do too much of this. I remember very, very clearly, my brother Johnny used to do trainings when we were doing boiler rooms, right? Johnny was the guy that used to train everybody and was particularly good at it, which is why he did the training. But it was the same training every single time. I mean, there's not much you can change in it. I mean, his personality or, maybe tell a story or whatever, but the damn training was the same every single time. And depending on how the sales floor was going, it was a once a week thing. And sometimes it was a twice or 3 times a week thing. And you continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. Seems ridiculous, right? It's not. The sobriety thing is so damn important, right? We've all agreed on this a million times, right? Yeah, V, I get that too. Thank you. V says she's waiting to knock a few trolls out. And around here, that's a full-time job. We picked up a whole new batch of haters when we found the SPTV crowd. Good news is I don't give a rat's can. I've never been bothered by him. I have to lie. I was wicked bothered by him, but I haven't been bothered by him since December 4th of 2021. That was the end of that. That's when I just said, I'm not going to do the Schrodinger's troll thing, right? They could be in that box doing it. I don't know. I don't watch. And seems to take a lot of the fun out of it for him too, which is cool. For a salesman, my sales skills weak. My sales skills weak. Well, the thing with sales is every single person on the planet will tell you, I don't want to have anything to do with sales. I don't want to have anything to do with sales. And there are people who truthfully feel that way. However, everything in life takes place with somebody closing someone, right? You close your wife on the concept that she's going to marry you. You talk her into it, really, because we're all slobs. But we get a beautiful, lovely woman that says, yes, I will marry you, you slob, right? That's a sale. Everything is a close. It really is. Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right, is insanity. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, except you think that it's going to come out differently, then you're insane. If you're doing rote training every single day, we're not looking for anything to come out with anything. What we want is to just literally become second nature, almost like you're brainwashing yourself. And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It really isn't. It's a fantastic thing. The more that you can get yourself focused and getting the engine that is you, the machine that is you, going in the right direction, the better off you're going to be. Oh my God. Nick, I'm sorry, man. Tooth pain is the worst. Tooth pain is the worst. I've told this story so many times on the lifeboat, but I got tossed in the segregated housing unit in prison. I was in Phoenix, Arizona, right? I was in Phoenix, Arizona. And it was like the second, it was this time of year, almost exactly this time of year. Might have been the first or second week in September. And I got a toothache so bad that I wrote a kite right to the cops. And I said, there's no way I get through the rest of this day with this tooth pain. You got to get me out of here right now and get me to a dentist. This is a mother-loving emergency, right? I made this as clear as you could possibly make it, that on a scale of 1 to 10, this pain was like an 8.5. You know what I mean? Like I've never had a 10. I've never once claimed that my pain level was a 10, right? Because then you'd have nowhere to go. So I've always, the worst that I've ever said anything was a 9. This tooth pain was hell. Fortunately, they pulled the tooth. It could have been saved, they told me, right? But they pulled the tooth on the 17th of January. I'm not kidding. They pulled that tooth on the 17th of January. And that entire time, like I would get a week or two where the pain would go away and then it would come back and it was just hell. Tommy, your interview with Aaron was fantastic. Great job. Thank you, Kath. I really appreciate that. When I was doing the tooth pain thing, this is a true story. I had been at prisons before where you could buy Orajel, right? You could buy stuff for tooth pain. You could not at Phoenix. And there was a guy in the back by the shoe, he was in the shoe with me out back, and he was a drug dealer. And I had bought a bunch of dope from this guy at one time or another. I was still partying. I was not sober at this time in my life. This was my first Fed rip. And I was still partying. But this guy sold drugs, and I had bought drugs from him. So we worked out a deal, and he sold me a half a gram of blow of cocaine, and a half a gram of cocaine. I paid, I don't remember whether it was $3 or $3.50 for a half a gram of coke. That's what prison prices. And then what I did is I made it into very, very small little packets, and I poured them one by one on the tooth. No joke. I bought a half a gram of blow and used it as Novocaine until it was gone. And it actually was a beautiful thing. It really was. That would knock it out for 6 to 8 hours. You'd only have to numb it once and it wouldn't come back. And it seemed like each time you numbed it, it would take longer for the pain to return. Kind of like trigger point injections, like they do with that same kind of a thing. One more reason jail sucks. Absolutely. And you know what was crazy? I was in there like this, right? I'm holding my face, and I got my head sideways, and I have the sink is just running water in my mouth. Right? Like I have my mouth open with the water going in, and I'm just leaving it like that. And I would keep my head there for, I'm not joking you, hours, until my neck hurt so bad that I couldn't do it anymore. It was just, but while I'm doing that, I got my face underneath this faucet, and water is just flowing in my mouth, which is going to keep me from, from going insane from the pain. And I was listening to the radio. The host, his name was Garrett Lewis. I'll never forget this, man. And he was talking about how the poor people on the street, we're not taking care of Americans. We take care of our prisoners 10 times better than we take care of our people. He said, they've got health care. I swear to you. He said, you got a toothache or there's something wrong with you. He said, you can see a doctor the same day. And I thought, where the hell is that happening? Right. I got my mouth under the faucet and I vowed that when I got out, I was going to chase this man down and tell him the story. And now he probably works about 15 minutes from where I'm sitting, but I no longer care about telling him anything. It seems like drug addicts do have more than average tooth pain. We absolutely do. And there's a very good reason for that, right? It is not, as most people think, that you just stop with oral hygiene and that's what happens to your teeth. If, depending on the drug you're doing, very often it dries out your mouth, right? That is a very bad thing for your teeth. When there is nothing going on in there for saliva and there's no lubrication or anything in your mouth, that is super bad for your teeth. It gives tooth decay a chance to really get rolling. Also, if you happen to be doing methamphetamine, you're going to be using a really serious amount of calcium, right? Something about processing that drug out of your body kind of sucks calcium. And where do you got it? Right? Available calcium. You're going to get bones and you're going to get teeth. And if you do meth long enough, you're going to really screw up both of them because you'll eventually run out of teeth. But it does, meth mouth. Yep, meth mouth. And it just, I watched dudes that I knew were brushing their teeth. I mean, these were pretty, I knew these guys really well. Now, you might not if you're on a 3-day runner because you don't go home. You're probably not doing it. But I've watched guys who had an entire full grill who started partying, needle using and stuff like that for methamphetamine, and within 6 months to a year, they'd have nothing. Buddha says back and neck pain is definitely worse. You know what? An exposed nerve on a tooth. Like I've broken my neck. I've broken my back. I've actually done both of those things. I've broken my neck and my back. Your back pain is definitely worse than mine. I've not done the fusions or any of the things you and my brother have done. However, the exposed nerve to me, you go and you breathe in and that cold air goes across that nerve and it is like the world is ending, right? Rule number 4, never rent to people missing teeth. That is one of those things that I guarantee you is a rule with a lot of people. And it's funny. It really is. It's probably true, unfortunately. I have to keep my teeth in glasses. There you go. Exposed nerve sucks. Patrick is on board. See, Patrick gets it. He gets it. You've taken a hot needle to a nerve before. You're a bad man. You are a bad man. You did that in your grill? That's pretty impressive. The exposed nerve will drive you crazy, though, for sure. Yeah, it will. It really will. Blow, honestly. I mean, you want to talk about something that really does a fantastic job. It works way better than its cousins, right? Lidocaine or, or xylocaine or any of the other canes, right? The one that really gets it done is cocaine. Really is a great numbing agent. Yeah. Yep. Popped the nerve and killed it. Yeah, you're a bad man, dude. That's tough. That really is. That's tough stuff. I don't think I could do that. Although this is a true story. I think Spanx could probably remember this too, but I was living in an apartment with my first wife, and I had a root canal done by a relative, right? Who's a dentist. And this cat sent me home. Got a really Italian last name. I probably shouldn't say it just in case he ever comes across this or somebody tells him it would bum him out. But he drilled me for for a root canal and left the tooth open. He said to me, yeah, we're not going to be able to finish it today. We're coming up on, whatever, a hard break. And he said, so I'm just going to leave it open. And I want you to come back, not tomorrow, but the day after. He said, I'm going to put a little seal or something on it. Well, I don't know what the hell he put on it. But when I went back, he drilled it out again. He packed it, did the root canal. Well, apparently he didn't get everything out of it. So an infection started on the inside of a sealed and drilled tooth. And it just started to swell out here and really got bad. And at this point, I got a 6 gram a day, tar habit. I'm doing 6 grams of tar a day. There's no way I'm taking $1 to go to a dentist, right? No, I'm not taking $1. And I don't mean, like, I could probably go in and burn them, go in and use the, go to an emergency kind of a dentist and, give them fake info or whatever. I could probably go in there and pull that off, right? But it would cost money to get there. Even if it was $3 in gas, not happening. $3 was a third of a bag of dope. And that's really what my life had become at that point. There was nothing more important to me than dope. So I was talking to my first wife, and she said to me, pull it, right? And it's here, right? It's 2 tooths from the back. And she said to me, pull it. I said, I think you're crazy. And she said, what else are you going to do? I'm sorry, Valerie. Really sorry. Where do I go to get wood? I want to buy some merch. Russ, I'll tell you what, the merch stuff will be up. I was talking to the person yesterday. We will have an entire merch store up at the beginning of this week. So stick around. That's for everybody. And there's some really, really cool stuff. There's a very funny shirt that when you guys see, it was actually brought on by yesterday's show by something that was said by Kathy. But I promise you would hold out. It'll be this week. All right, please. Anyway, when I went to remove it, it went like this and snapped in half. And it was the greatest thing in the entire world. Honestly, you would think how bad that would be. But when it broke, it was like this. The pain was gone. I mean, that fast. But the noise was insane. My ex-wife came running in and said, what the hell was that? And I was just leaking all that terrible stuff out. But I felt so much better. Put that on your skin. Russ wants me to skin it. Hey, dude, I'm Daniel Boone. I'll skin anything. That is so funny, Russ. You just made my day. Skin it. Put that on something, brother. Yeah, that is so funny. Oh, man, I needed that this morning. I hadn't heard that in a long time. I hadn't even thought about that in a long time. But that is a thing, peeps. That is a thing. That's how you know someone's telling you the truth. No, but that's how, inside you've got to have I swear to you, this is the gospel truth kind of thing. You need something for that, an expression or whatever. And inside it's put that on your skin, not your wife, Schwinn, right? Yeah, all of those. I'll put that on my Schwinn. There's about a bazillion jokes for how you can get away with that. And then you do that dude's Daniel Boone. He'll skin anything. Doesn't mean you can trust him. Yeah. All that. That's so funny. Dustin Hoffman. I know the movie. That's how they torture him. It's a terrible film. They go in and drill it, and then they put a little bit of the numbing agent on it and say, we can make that pain go away. I'd be like, what do you need? We can work this out. Who do you want me to tell on? Right? Mom? Seriously. Brother? Yeah, tooth pain sucks. All right, so look, we're going to get back to business here. See what happens with you people? Guys, you get me off of the you get me off of the beaten path, and then it's all bad. Is it safe? We get 2 is it safes. Hello, Peggy. All right, so yesterday when we were talking about this, and I got squirreled off very much like we just did now. One of the things that I really wanted to get across, and I think that this gets lost, right? In a really big way, this gets lost on a lot of people. Whitney Houston, right? Remember that song about kids being the future and all that crap? The truth of the matter is this. If you do not love yourself, then no one else is ever going to. I promise you. And I'll tell you something else. And this is a stone cold freaking rule. And I promise you, it's a fact with every one of you. People say, well, you know what? Those things don't apply to everybody. This applies to everyone on planet Earth. No one is ever going to love you more than you love yourself. No one. So if the best you can do is love yourself to about a 6, don't think someone's going to love you to a 10. They're not. They're going to love you just a little bit less than you love yourself. So you're going to get a 5. Right? That's what you're going to get. So if you want everybody around you, if you really want to feel that love, if you want to be a part of that and have it just be overwhelming, then you better start with yourself. You better start with making yourself the most popular person in your life. Now, don't hit me with don't put up the comment that says, I don't like me. I know you don't like you, right? Nobody starts off getting sober thinking I'm a damn good person, right? Nobody. Hello, Rachel. Good to see you. Nobody thinks the day that they quit, I'm a good person. I'm going to stop doing heroin. And do you know why? Because I'm worth it. Because I'm a good guy, right? I'm sitting on a rack in a prison, right? When I'm trying to make the decision to get my life in order, I'm sitting in federal prison for felon in possession of a firearm, and selling some guns to an undercover member of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That's what I was sitting in prison for, and I didn't feel very good about myself. I didn't like myself. I didn't like being around myself. I was one of my least favorite people on the planet. Tommy and the Boat Watchers sounds like a Beach Boys cover band. It really does. That sounds like a Beach Boys cover band. Speaking of which, I got a great hat in the mail. I don't know if I'm supposed to, there are people that don't want their name out there as giving a gift. Like, I've had people yell at me for this. So I don't know if I can tell you who gave this to me, but I got this yesterday. Look at this. And tell me this isn't cool. That's a baseball hat. That is the Captain Tommy baseball hat. Is that not the coolest thing ever? It says Captain on it. I was pretty stoked when that came in the mail. Now I really can wear my captain's hat when I'm not in the house. You've been sober since getting out last, or did you do it after? I got 10 years under my belt. Good for you, man. So far, and I did it after I got out. Hardest thing I ever did. I believe that, Russ. I absolutely believe that. I got clean on my 3rd rip on the inside. I had been on my last sentence about a year and a half. I'd been doing dope daily for the first year and a half that I was back in the feds, and I was at Victorville, and I was just going hard to the paint, and I happened to be, no joke, best friends with the shot caller. He was a Sereno, the guy that had the yard for. We were right across the street from the USB, so they picked, who was going to run the yard, and they decided it was going to be this dude. And I had been with him for 5 or 6 months, paying for his drug habit. I liked him; he was a good dude. We hung out together, and all of a sudden, it was his yard, and 10% of everything that came in had to go to him. Right? You smuggle something in, you do anything, 10% goes to the guy that has the yard. And it just meant that we just kind of had an unlimited supply of dope in there. So, but I got stabbed in a misunderstanding. For real. They sent a guy out to stab somebody, get the old white guy with the cane. And he stabbed an old white guy with a cane. He just didn't get the right old white guy with a cane. I used to have a ponytail when I was on the inside, right? Believe it or not, kind of like Phil Collins, I had a ponytail. And so I looked a lot like, the other guy, also old, also white, had a ponytail, used a cane. I was driving my car on the yard, and the key holder for the woods was my celly. And I never did anything in there. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Good for you, bro. That's awesome. It's disgusting. If you think that a drug habit is bad on the street, you can multiply it by 1,000 when you're in prison. It's just that much more disgusting, right? You see guys, you'll see 15 people using the same needle. I'm not exaggerating. Maybe more. There are guys that's their entire hustle Instead of trying to figure out a way to do anything, they just go get needles. And their deal is, yeah, you can use my needle. Everybody can, but you gotta give me a shot when it's all over. And you'll watch, there'll be 9 guys in a room. I never shot in prison behind anybody. Thank you, ZW. I really appreciate you. Thank you. No, that, when I was in, I never did that. I think I shot dope maybe 4 times the entire time I was in prison. And every time, and I don't mean literally 4 times. I mean, like, there were 4 sessions where I started slamming. I might slam for a week or whatever, but I did it. There were like 4 different goes. And each time it was because I was able to get a needle that was still in plastic, like a real deal, no joke needle. And, somebody in medical would I'd be like, yeah, get me that. And, there were $200 or something. And I would use it until it wasn't sharp. And then I would sell it for like 70. Because those idiots they will sharpen it on a matchstick. Really, really awful. Some of the stuff that you see is just really disgusting. But so when I quit, right? When I quit in prison, I'm sitting in there on the prison, on the rack, sitting on the bottom bunk, and just thinking, why in the name of God would you need to do this for you? You need to do this for you. If you don't quit for you, you're never going to do it. And honestly, I had just come from a drug class too that we were forced to go to. And I'm in there just thinking, who in here wants to save themselves? Who in here honestly doesn't hate everything about them? Over a dime hit. Yeah, no question, Russ. No question. I watched one of the worst things I ever saw in federal prison was over $6. One of the most, and I'm not even going to tell you about it because it is so damn disturbing that half of the audience would take off right now. For real. It'd be me, Russ, and a couple other dudes that was sticking around because it's just awful. But it was over $6. It was over a yard book of stamps. $6. And the crazy thing is this. It wasn't like the guy borrowed $6 and didn't pay him back, because that's a really big deal, right? If you say you're going to do something, you got to do it. It doesn't matter what it is, right? The principle of that really does matter inside, right? That's really kind of a big deal. But that's not what this was. This was a guy that paid somebody, and the dude went to him and said, hey, one of these books is 2 stamps short. And he gives the dude back the book and says, I need a whole one, man. And so they're arguing over 2 stamps, which if you bought at store at that point was probably $1, maybe 90. I think it wasn't quite 50 cents yet. It hadn't gone to 50 cents, but 2 stamps. Life gets real cheap in prison. It gets really, really cheap in prison. I'll tell you something else too, just real briefly, because I have told the story on here before about me being there, right? I'm sitting at my desk working in the kitchen when a guy actually spit directly underneath my desk, someone's nose. I kid you not. Oh yeah, $1.75 bag of coffee. Yeah. Gotcha. You know what? In the feds, the one thing I'll say is this. Nobody does anything to anybody on a weight pile. That's the one thing that I will say. In the feds, because they passed a law, and it was called the Zimmerman Act. And what happened is a convict wrote to this guy Zimmerman. He had killed a senator's niece. I think it was niece. It was either niece or daughter. And he wrote a letter to this guy and talked about how he was in there playing video games, smoking cigarettes, watching porn. He's working out. He's really getting in great shape. But this guy Zimmerman made it his personal goal in life to remove the weights off of every yard in the federal system, to remove smoking. There can be no nudity in any magazine. Like, you couldn't get a Playboy, much less anything that was, really, really kind of, nasty stuff. There's no nudity allowed in the in any kind of literature at all in the feds. So yeah, just it's not allowed at all. And that whole Zimmerman thing made it so that if you have a weight pile on a yard, it's grandfathered. But if a weight breaks or something happens, they can never replace it, right? So there's weights that are just, you see stuff that's welded together 500 times, but the boys are very, very serious about making sure that nothing happens on the weight pile, right? You want to fight, you do it somewhere else because nobody wants to lose the weights. All bad, all bad. Yes, a guy bit a nose off. He absolutely did over a chicken patty that somebody, they were arguing over a 7-cent chicken patty. Earlier on, amidst this argument, I said to the guy, I'll just go to the freezer and get another box. Don't trip. I'll go get another box of these patties. Like I order everything in the kitchen, right? I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll go get a box. And he's like, no, it's the principle of the thing. I thought, oh man. So I walked out. Like, I'm not sticking around for this thing. You guys want to fight? You go ahead and fight. So I go back to my desk, and as the guy's walking by to leave, he left the guy's nose underneath my desk with a no joke. And the reason I'm bringing this up is very simple. There's a guy that was there for that incident. He was not in he was on the yard when it happened. And I lived in the same unit with him. Everybody was locked down. And by the time I got back, he said to me, it was crazy. By the time I got back to the unit, he said to me, was it really JB? I said, yeah, it was. I don't know how the hell anybody could, but word travels quickly. But he's out of prison. I spoke to him the other day, and I'm probably going to have him come on the channel because I did time with this dude. We did a chunk of time together, actually. This guy was 365 pounds, something like that. And he looked at me and he goes, yep, it's time for me to stop eating and get in shape. I'm going to be out of here within about a year. And I said, yeah, you're going to knock that off? He goes, yeah, I'm going to leave here at 180 pounds. And I said, well, let me know how that works out for you. And that dude left prison at 180 pounds. Just plain and simple. Started working out. When I first saw him, he looked like he was doing Jane Fonda. He really did. Like he was barely lifting a leg and an arm. And I just thought, this dude's not getting to 180 pounds. But I watched him start doing push-ups, and I started watching him do everything. Lemmy says, I met a guy with a fake nose once. Yeah, that happens. This guy, the way they put this guy back together was fascinating. He actually, because you don't get blood to your nose, right? There are no veins that goes here, for real. That's why they can't reattach it. So they had to build in one, but they had to take a vein, and the vein literally came out of the side of his head, and they had it wrapped up, and it would come down to feed blood to the new part that they were doing. And they took skin and stuff from his ass and his leg to rebuild a nose for him. When you got a breakfast in state prison, they hand you a bag lunch on the way out. Oh no, been there, done that. And in it, there's a bag of Kool-Aid. And I know one guy who took his cellmate over a tiny bag of state Kool-Aid. Yeah, which doesn't even have sugar in it, right? They make terrible candy out of those things. They make terrible candy out of those. It is sad and crazy, Russ. People don't realize that the saddest thing about prison, you hear Russ? Russ says it's sad and it's crazy, right? There are people in there who realize that it's sad and that it's crazy. And there are people in there that just don't get it. There are people in there for whom all of this is normal, right? There are people in there who are so off the track, right? They're right where they need to be. They're surrounded by a bunch of sick individuals, and there are sick individuals themselves, right? But there are guys who get busted for some drugs, or they get busted for something. They're not sick people. And sadly, they get in there with that. Yeah, fellas, make that out of Kool-Aid. I hated those candies. And anytime there's anything with fake sugar in it, right? Now that I'm free, I will not take fake sugar anything. When people say, I'm going to get a diet, don't you bring me anything that's got a sweetener in it ever again for the rest of my life. I want sugar. I don't even drink Coca-Cola unless it's made with sugar. I don't do the high fructose corn syrup. Like, prison changed me, man. I'm not doing anything. If it's supposed to be sweet, it's going to have sugar in it, or I'm not doing it. Why is this so interesting, though? I could listen to this all day. It's making my dusting go fast. I can tell you why. I really can. The reason that prison is fascinating to people who have not been there is because it gives you a glimpse at a part of society that is taking place every day, right? There are 3 million people, something like that, who are incarcerated in one way or another right now in the U.S. That's about what we usually have. And there's probably a prison near you, and there are people in there living this life. And when you hear what's going on, yeah, Russ says there are things I can say I've seen, but out of respect for everyone. And yeah, and I appreciate that. No, there are some things. Absolutely, there are things that you see in there. And the other thing that's sad about it is, let's say you're that guy, and he is straight up, because the kind of convict that I'm talking about that doesn't get it would just tell you this story. The fact that Russ says, out of respect, I'm not going to do that here. There are people that just wouldn't care, but what Russ is saying is real. And those things that he said he's seen, I don't care how tough you are. I don't care how hard you are. It changes you. It absolutely changes you. And it's unfortunate because guys go in there with none of this, right? They go in with none of the problems that, of PTSD or any of those things, but they leave with it. I don't know anybody, at least if you're on a real yard. I don't know what it's like at camps or any of those really low custody level. I've never done any of those things, but I would imagine it's still prison, It's a society within a society, Kathy says. And it is. It's mind-blowing because inside we have currency, right? We make our own. There's the economy in there is designed by inmates. It really is, right? We use fiat currency, but what we use for fiat currency is stamps. That's the money inside, at least in the federal system. You spend stamps. And there are places where they've tried to eliminate that. Right. So they try to make it so that you have to go down and put your stuff through a meter that automatically puts a stamp on. That way they wouldn't have stuff that people could buy drugs with on the yard. But they had photo ducats, right? You could get a picture taken of yourself for $1 and you could get 6 for $5. So guys would go buy those tickets because they are a representation of money. Somebody had to pay something to get it, right? Our currency in there is actually backed by more than the currency in the U.S. is. But I know it's fascinating. And I can look at other things that are similar. One of the reasons that I was over on Aaron's channel in the first place is because I am damn fascinated by that. Siegel Rock Squawk, 6 freaking weeks today. I was told there'd be no math, but I'm pretty sure that's like 40 some odd days, right? This is, as you know, this is the lifeboat participation trophy, right? This is official. And this gets pulled out to honor people that have done something that is making them a better person. And getting through your first 6 weeks, I mean, that's right now, man, what you got to be stoked about is, and believe me when I say this, Siegel, the toughest times that you're ever going to do, the hardest times to ever get through, you already did. Straight up. I promise you. In the whole scheme of things, the hardest that you're going to come across already happened. He says, Tommy, keep up the awesome work, Peckerwood. You, like myself, changed our lives. I was level 3 and 4 and seeing things I still see at night when I shut my eyes, no question. Things can change and people can too. You just got to want to. That's absolute. Thank you so much, Russ, for the donation. And also thank you so much for the comment, because that is so spot on. It really is. You're never gonna get away from all of the crap that you saw in there. There's no chance. And maybe that's one of the other things that fascinates people is that there aren't that many places left on planet Earth where that kind of violence is not only allowed and accepted, but, just expected. Thank you, ZW. Says, awesome, Siegel. You do rock. And you know something? It really is. It really is one of the last places on earth where that kind of anger and that kind of violence, and it's celebrated. When a stabbing goes on for, a week afterwards, you're going to hear one inmate after another tell the story, and every one of them is going to try to make it a little bit more gory and a little bit like they care less about it. You know what I mean? You're never going to hear an inmate on the inside say, oh man, it was so disgusting. It actually freaked me out. Right. No one's ever going to say something like that because they all got to pretend they're a little harder than the next guy. The example I used to give, as a joke, for laughs was, everybody, especially like when I got to the special management unit, everybody there at the SMU has got to pretend that they're hella hot, right? They're afraid that their cellmate's going to kill them or whatever. And like the first night I ever got in there, man. Yeah, Russ, I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, I think that would be absolutely awesome, Russ. I think that would be that would be a good video. I would dig that. I really would. That would be a good time. Yeah, the scars of prison really and truthfully never go away, and it's sad. I'll talk to him. I'm going to be with him day after tomorrow too. So not day after tomorrow. Day after tomorrow. No, I'm going to be with him in a couple of days though. Today's the 3rd. We're going to be together on the 6th. Silence and pretending is a killer too. Peggy, it may be worse. It may be worse. Look at this. Diana M says, I feel like our personal boundaries have been so violated in the life when we have that one line left and it's crossed. Boom, we snap. It's fascinating because when you get to prison, you're gonna meet people. You're gonna meet Russes. You're gonna meet people that you can sit down and have an intelligent conversation with. You can talk about things that are happening on the street, things that are happening in people's family. It's a person that understands concepts like empathy and sympathy, and and all of those good things. And you can look at those people. I swear to you, you walk around the yard of 1,300 people, you're gonna look and go, yeah, that cat's trying to change his life, right? You can tell by what he's carrying. Yeah, you know what? I'm so fired up about going out to LA for this. I really am excited. Kathy says, I don't see how pampered Danny M is going to survive prison. I don't either. I'll be really honest with you. I don't either. He's going to have to really, he's going to have to get creative really quickly because he cannot imagine the world he's about to get into. He really can't. There's a really good chance. There's more info on the Danny thing that has come out since we did the video. I'm not going to drop it here because I didn't come up with this, right? It wasn't my source or anything like that. However, I was talking late night with AA Ron, and the two of us are going to be going back on today or tomorrow. I believe. John Doe says, Danny's problem is he's a jerk. That's one of the biggest problems that he has as a human being. His problem, in the real world is 27 years sober. Good for you. Andy's enough. That's heavy, man. 27 years is huge. Good for you. Good for you, man. I'm tossing a one up for that. That is, good for you, Scoob. Scoob made 2 months with no cigarettes. I didn't know that, Scoob. You're 60 days in. Good for you. Andy, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. It was, I wish I had done it a little earlier in life, but you know what? It's all worked out. I'm where I'm supposed to be at this time. No way. You got a brother in there right now that's a trustee? Oh. Wow. You know what? I've never been to LA County. I would imagine though, that it's once you've been to one, I don't mean because they all have their own flavor and their own feeling and all of that. But as far as like how they're built, there's only really about 3 layouts, for different kinds of prisons, and chances are you've been in all of them. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I figured that's what you meant, Rose. I figured that's what you meant. The officials are so worried about protecting Danny, but who protected the Jane Does? Here's the deal, Kathy. And here's the thing. John Doe said the problem with him is that he's a jerk. He is somebody that he embodies evil. Hey, cat. He is the embodiment of evil. He really is. The fact is, anyone who does what he did is a reprehensible piece of crap. But what he did is worse because he engineered that. Come on. He had to put a lot of effort in to make that happen. He really did. He had to put a lot of effort in to make that happen. He had to, she almost kicked herself right off of that table. He had to find the drugs. He had to find, but you'll notice he targeted women, right? He targeted women that were all in a cult that couldn't call the police, right? He knew that the people he was going to be assaulting didn't have an opportunity to to go to the police. What a dirtbag, honestly. Like he engineered a way where that kind of assault was just now a part of his life. It was a huge part of his life, right? And make no mistake, people, in case you don't get this, there's nothing. It has nothing to do with sex. For real. People like him don't do that because they're feeling randy, right? That's not what happens. They do that because they're sick individuals and they get their rocks off looking at fear, right? Looking at discomfort or something that they really get off on the fear. And so it just goes to show you, mind game sums it up, right? That's a piece of crap. But that's a kind of sickness that people don't cure, by the way. You don't cure it. And no one's ever going to convince me that you can. It's not something that gets cured, pick anybody here on the boat right now. If I said, okay, you're, what flips your switch? What makes you go, wow, look at that, is a guy. I say, okay, no more guys. Starting tomorrow, you got to start liking women. You'd say to me, that's not possible for me. That's just not going to work. Right? Well, that's how it would be for that sick bastard too. What flips his switch is fear, making someone really uncomfortable, having control over people. It's never about sex. It's always about control and it's about violence and it's just all bad. My cat Lola just heard Squirrel's little meow and is looking around. If I had $1 for every time someone has said to me, Squirrel's meowing has drove my cat nuts. See that? Now his cats are meowing after hearing Squirrel. And she's back. She thinks that, ready? I'm going to get a good bite on one of my fingers. She's thinking about it. You're a good kitty. It really is a fantastic cat. She's just awesome. Yeah, she thinks Tommy talks to bright lights, right? Squirrel honestly thinks that I am just an idiot. But she doesn't get in this basket unless I'm talking to you guys. That's the truth. She hangs out here just because of the lifeboat. When I'm here and talking, she's right here. If not, she's always somewhere else. Yeah, on cue, right? I mean, she's going to get, what, when this is over. A big pile of them. She's going to be treated well. What are you doing? Don't eat that, though. Oh, very good cat. I think I'm driving her nuts, though, because she doesn't want to be in the basket. Oh, she's purring like that. Really start. Squirrel's trying to start her own channel. I tell you what. Of all of the comments that I've gotten since we started this show, people saying that Squirrel needs her own channel is probably in the top 3 of the comments that I hear the most. You're 59 today. Happy birthday, Seagull Rock Squawk. How did you not tell us that until now? You know what? Didn't want a big deal made over it. Figures wait till the very end. Well, I'm not having it, Seagull. This won't be the last show today. You're going to have to deal with happy birthdays for the rest of the day. And that's how that goes. Happy birthday, man. That's awesome. The one true unconditional love. Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what. Squirrel absolutely is definitely unconditional love. She's right now considering how she can destroy this live feed. Oh, that's the way. Yeah, I knew what you were doing. Oh, look at you. She was absolutely getting ready to leap from the top of the desk onto the laptop. All right. She thinks I'm an idiot. Yes, and she still has unconditional love for me. She's fantastic. There you go. We'll have to do this for a while because she'll put up with me holding her only as long as I'm petting her under the chin. If I stop doing this, she'll be on the ground in seconds. She's this cat has trained me for real. It would be nice if somehow I had trained this cat, but the truth of the matter is she's trained me. Hey, good to see you, Stone Lux. Glad that you're here. Rick Smith, I don't know that I said hello. Good to see you. All cats think we're idiots, but they do love us, right? As long as we're feeding them or petting them or doing exactly what they want, they do love us. This cat loves me. This cat follows me around all day long. If I walk to another room, she goes with me. What are you doing? You ready? She doesn't want to get out. Yeah, no. If you lay down, you just be comfy. She's not going to have it. She is a little diva. There is no question. I say that about twice a day. She is an absolute diva. Remember that guy that brought wild animals on the late show? Absolutely. Jim Fowler. The guy's name was Jim Fowler. That's who used to bring people on. Or Hannah. Yeah, yes. Was that the other one? Hannah? Oh man. Now I'm losing it. Yeah, lay down and go to sleep, squirrel. She'll come back in about 2 seconds. She's going to walk around and see if there's something she can get into trouble with. But if she hears my voice going, like if I sit at this desk and work on a watch, she doesn't come and get in that basket. I think it's got something to do with me sitting here exactly talking into the lights. She's got to be looking at it going, this guy's really not all there. You know, normally when someone does this, they're looking at a different face. Like I'm talking to myself as far as the cat's concerned. I'm just sitting here having a conversation with myself. Yeah. Squirrel, you are not the host. She absolutely thinks she is. Aussie guy with Aussie animals and gators. You're not talking about the one who lost, the one who passed away when he got taken out by what was it? A manta, right? Wasn't it a ray? I think it was a manta ray. Aussie guy with Aussie animals and gators and stuff. Oh, crikey. Steve Irwin. Isn't that the guy's name? It puts the cat in the basket or it gets the hose again. That's not a bad t-shirt either. It puts the cat in the basket. That would not be a bad t-shirt. For real. Maybe that's Jack Hanna. I thought Jack Hanna I didn't think he was Aussie. But you know something? I was actually, believe it or not, come on, squirrel. 1 minute before we went live, I was watching The Tonight Show. I really was. There you go. Oh, she's gonna walk on the computer. That's her goal today, is that she's going to try to turn the live stream off herself, which she has successfully done on several occasions. I was watching The Tonight Show right before I went live. And the reason that I did, the reason I was watching it is I was watching the first time that Carson had on Jimmy Buffett. And it is just a great interview and a great performance. I have 2 cats and a dog, and they walk around in a line. It's a pecking order thing. That's funny. I'm just happy she's not eating a cord. She really has a thing about chewing cords in half. I mean, she's into it. You know? Yeah, she's a spoiled little animal, to be sure. You know, she definitely gets way more attention than she should, and probably a lot more TREATSs too. To be honest, I probably give her way too much of that, and I don't know. I'm not good at saying no to squirrel, and she has the most pathetic pleading meow you've ever heard. When she really wants something, she does this like she's just bumming. I think the cats feel our love vibration we generate from this beautiful connection. Cheryl, there's probably truth to that. There really is. I probably, I'm always feeling pretty good, and she probably gets that. Yeah, Mind Game says peace and love. Everybody have a wonderful Sunday and hopefully see everyone on Rumble Sunday afternoon show with Tommy. I will be doing a show at 3 o'clock on Rumble, right? It's under the same name, The Lifeboat. Don't go over if you, if you love me and you're not somebody that, that has any inclining whatsoever toward religion or faith, and don't come over because I'm going to be talking about religion. That's what I talk about on that channel. Very specifically, that's all I talk about now on that channel. So if you want to come over, that's great. But that's what you're gonna hear. And most of the people there are there because they want to hear that. So, all right, Stone, be careful, eh? Take care of yourself. She learns fast. Zona's waking her up at 4:30 for the 5 o'clock show. I love it. That's it. What you need is a well-trained animal to get you up in the morning. It's so much better than anything else. Oh, I just dropped something. Sorry, people. Really love the Rumble show. Squirrel, Tommy, praying. All right, people, we are almost at the top of the hour. And I spoke with Heather Joy yesterday. And Heather is actually feeling a lot better. She's still very, very swollen and black and blue, but she's feeling a lot better. I don't know that we'll see her today, maybe, but I'm almost 100% sure we will see her tomorrow. Hey, Texas, what's going on? Yeah, absolutely. You want to get hot peanuts? Oh, wow. Wow, you're going to do a tube of terror. Yeah, fantastic. I'm always down for helping people get a tube of terror. Send me that email. I will absolutely get back to you. I promise you. Charlie says, make it a great day. Be safe, all. Love you, Charlie. Have a safe day. Good evening, everyone, from the land of the rising sun. Hello, Jeremy. Glad that you're here. There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. And it's been. All right, Kath. Many a young poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. All right, Squirrel has made many appearances today. I think we're going to give her a pass, eh? It's so funny because now I've got this thing on a big screen and now I can actually see most of you. Like if your avatar has a picture of you for the first time ever, I'm seeing it. You have a buddy that's going to do it. Oh, all right. There you go. I hold the world record for the fastest tube of terror ever. I really do. I hold the world record and nobody's ever going to beat it. I promise you. I don't think the average person could eat regular peanuts that fast. Honestly, I did it. It was under a minute. So before we end, let me tell you a little bit about tonight's schedule. Last night, we did not do the interview that I was wanting to do with Lemmy because we did Saturday Night Boat, which I didn't realize when I invited him on. Forgot what day of the week it was, which I do often, to be really honest with you. I bought a few of the ice cream bars. They were great. Eric Burton says Mind Games. All right, one last time. Come on, Cat. Get up here. So, all right, there's Full of Hope. That we were waiting for you, Full of Hope. We didn't want to end until we saw you here. Oh, good. She's not jumping up here. All right, people. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. You saw the cat. I'll see you on the next show. Make it a fantastic Sunday, all right, people? Take care of one another. And between now and the next time we see each other, do me a favor. Reach out and try to save somebody. And if that somebody is you, then do it quickly, eh? God bless. All right, Wood. Have a good day.